So we're just creeping up on the hour mark here for our spring turn, and I thought I'd check in. I'm not going to do another turn. That's close enough to the 60-minute mark. I wanted to run you through a couple of things that happened. Adjust the focus here. So as you can see, we didn't make it incredibly far. I ran into some issues here, and I think I did okay as far as rules. So when I came out of Missouri here, came out into unexplored, I think I found rapids there is what it was. And every time you mark it with an X, you're supposed to do a river danger roll. I forgot to on this one, but when I discovered waterfalls down here, I did remember and rolled it. One of the other things I forgot to do was look for a mountain pass. When you're in the mountains, part of the advanced rules are you can look for a mountain pass, and I didn't do it on that one. I just moved through. So I ended this turn in a mountain hex. So I'm going to try that on my next turn, which, if I understand the rules correctly, you basically use all the movement points for looking for that, and I think it costs 3 search pass, 3 movement points. So one thing that I was talking about earlier with the movement points, there's a limit on what you can use. If you can use 4 movement points if you're in a canoe, that's the max. You can use 3 movement points if you're on horse or if you're wandering through the woods. Now the terrain cost is going to be different depending on if you're mounted on horses or if you're not. So that's where the difference comes in. I don't know if I made that clear in the first half of it. I decided to set a trap over here. I mean, it's close to Missouri. I'm not quite sure why I did it there. I mean, in hindsight, I should have kind of maybe set the trap over here. We did discover a couple of tribes. Let's pull out the sheet here. We did discover a couple of tribes. 2 Shoshone tribes, focusing, there we go, I think that's it there. 2 Shoshone tribes, one with a strength of 3 and one with a strength of 2. The one with a strength of 3 for the draw, they were moved off of the map, they were taken off of the map. This one remains and has moved around the map just a little bit here in our couple of turns. We were lucky, both were friendly. The second one we encountered, we did a trade. We managed to trade, we found a secret cache of 5 rifles, $50, and 5 beaver pelts. So I traded some rifles for beaver pelts there. So we're sitting at 8 beaver pelts. We managed to find $50. Through our friendly encounter, they gave us some medicine, which if we end up losing our doctor, we can use the medicine in place of the doctor for some of our rolls on some tables. We did lose one of our guides. He was bitten by a tick. We had to stay in the spot, and then eventually died. So I just did a random roll to see who would die, and it just so happened it was the Ute guide there that we lost. So we're down 1 person in our kind of group. I mean, what can I say? I love it. I think it's great. I enjoy doing the drawing on the map. I think it's a pretty interesting way to kind of work a game just to see what's happening, you know, and just kind of exploring. I'm just taking it easy. I mean, when you're entering an unexplored hex, you have to use 3 movement points to explore that hex. So you really can only move 1 hex at a time. It's not like through unexplored hexes you're able to kind of jump through a couple of them. So, I mean, my plan is to kind of continue down here before eventually making our way up to the rendezvous point. We'll see how this next turn goes. Like I said, for the first part of this spring turn, everything was running very, very smoothly. It was only the last few turns that we really got held up, especially once we lost one of our guides. We got lost a number of times. There's a lost table up there, and you get a +1 for each guide that you have. Scout isn't part of the game right now. So if it's a 1 to 3, you're lost and you have to stay where you are. If it's 4 or more, you continue. Just having that +2 was a real benefit. Now that it's +1, there was I think I got lost 3 times, I think, pretty much back to back. So that does make a difference there. Yeah, so now we're going to check in with just while we're doing this, I may as well show you what's next. We've got the summer season coming up. Beginning of summer, tribes not in Adobe settlements move D6 spaces east, no further than Rocky's environment. Movement point phase, 2 movement points, does not need to check danger. Encounter movement phase, move +1 additional space. And then hunting and trapping in the desert, it's a -2, and in Mesa, it's a -1. So every time you need to feed your people, so you're looking on that hunting table, and in the spring or fall, it's a +1. So I mean, I didn't. I ended up getting a bunch of rations because I had a couple of rolls where it was a 6. If you roll a natural 6, you find a bison herd. You roll again, add both results plus the modifier. So I ended up, I think that happened twice, and ended up getting quite a bit of rations. But now we're down to just 2 below what our starting was. Our start was 50, and now we're sitting at 48 due to our inability to hunt and just getting lost and a bunch of shit happening to us. So there you go. That's the check-in, and that's it. Maybe we'll come back. If not, thanks for watching. So it's been an eventful summer here. That was a hell of a turn, man. A lot of stuff happened. So let's talk about what happened, and then this will be the final part of this video. If you remember, I believe we started our turn on this hex here, on this mountain hex. I erased this one here because I think I made a mistake. It wasn't an undiscovered hex. There was a river in there. I don't think I should have tried to discover to see what was in there. I was moving into a hex that I already knew where it was. Anyway, I'm not sure about that one. That one kind of confused me a bit, so I just went with erasing that mountain there. So one of the other options is you can do mountain climb, and if you're successful, you reach the summit and you draw cards checking the terrain and river in each adjacent undiscovered hex. So that's what I did here. So I was able to kind of see what was around me. We had mountains and a river started, alpine with a river coming through it, more mountains. This one was there. Alpine with a river starting, and then another mountain just on its own. I set a trap. Where did I have that? Did I have that here? No, I had that here. I set a trap here. I moved in, set a trap, did some looking up above here to see if I could find some animal trails, which I was successful. I ran into the Cheyenne and ended up befriending them and rolling on. So you have a couple of options here. When you make a, not when you discover, sorry, when you have an encounter with a tribe, you've got a bunch of options here. Hide, ignore, trade, cheat, friendship, or combat. I went for friendship and was successful because I was going to gift them. The more you gift them, the better your odds are. I became a friend and ended up rolling a 6 on the friendship table, which led me to talking with the chief. We had number 4, where basically they became friends with us and they traveled with us. We had to determine who their enemy was going to be. It turned out it was the Ute Yampa number 2 counter here, because there was no counters on the board, so we just did a chit pull. We ended up fighting them. They retreated. We gained some stuff, which was great because my group was starving. When we were traveling with a Cheyenne, we never had to roll on the lost table. We were always knew where we were going because we had guides, basically. It makes me wonder that if they're guides, I don't know. I mean, maybe it feels like there was something missed, that if there were guides, they would know where they were taking us and what their surroundings were. We still had to do the discovery and things, so we still had to do all of that. Whatever. I mean, it's a fiddly little thing. It's not the end of the world though. Um, so yeah, battle ensued. They ended up retreating, which means we parted our ways. They happened to follow us just on a random draw when we drew a card looking for the encounter movement, which if you remember is down here on the right hand side of the card. When you get to that section, you're just reading that and seeing if your encounters that are on the map are going to move. And then just on our last turn, we had an encounter with some trappers. And looking at the trapper table, it could have gone horribly wrong. I think we were pretty lucky in as much that we rolled a 2 and we were able to trade so more rations, which was great. We had 12 beaver pelts, so we ended up trading 6 of them. Another interesting thing happened when we encountered the Cheyenne again. We ended up rolling, again successful in the friendship policy, so rolling on the friendship table. We ended up rolling a 4, which was a crew member meets a woman, beginning a relationship. Note a heart in tribe and crew member. Every future friendly encounter, he roll a d6. On a 1, the relationship is over. A 5 or more, there's a wedding. And then wedding makes permanent friendship and trade with tribe. Spouse may accompany as a guide. So again, we just did our random die roll, and it turned out that our second hunter was the one that fell in love, so we made the appropriate notes down here for next time. I mean, what can I say? This is a this is a fantastic game. So before we kind of sign off, we're moving into fall here next. So we'll have a look at there. Sorry for the amazing shaky camera work. Beginning of fall, tribes not in Adobe settlements move D6 spaces west, no further than Mesa environment. Movement point phase, roll a D6. A 6 equals snow, may only move a max 2 MPs. And then hunting and trapping +1 to total. So that's what we've got for the fall. So that'll be an interesting round. That was a hell of a game so far. 2 seasons into it, and I'm really digging it. So, like I said, that's going to be it for me, and we're going to sign out of here. So, thanks very much for watching. Like I said, Rocky Mountain Man, an adventure crayon game. Check it out.